stuff like that. If you know how to do that, great. If you don't, we do provide you with step-by-step instructions. All you have to do is come down here, the blue hyperlink, click on it. Another web tab will open up, and it'll give you step-by-step instructions with pictures of how to add it as a trusted site, including the 2 web pages that web address that you should be adding to the trusted site. All right. Sorry, just kind of skipping around here. If you guys have any questions during my spiel here, just speak up and just cast a question. Just interrupt me. Don't worry, and I'll try to answer as best I can. If I can't answer, I'll definitely take it to someone else after the meeting here, to someone like Tina or my manager or someone else here in the company that might be able to answer that question, and I'll just email it back to Sonia, and she'll distribute it back to all of you. Okay? Now, logging into LendingQB, all you need is your ID and your LendingQB ID and your password, which your admin team will give that to you. Like any ID and password, obviously you shouldn't share that. Multiple reasons. Number one, in our world here in LendingQB, all your credentials and your contact information is linked up to your login ID, your LendingQB login ID. All right, and for just for your sake too, the system does keep an audit trail of everything that's done within the loan file. All right. And that audit trail tracks by that login ID, your user ID. So obviously you don't want someone going in the file doing things in your file. I'm not saying people will do that, but you just don't want that in case of anything, right? You don't want someone going in there pretending to be you, because when it ultimately comes back to when the manager does an audit on the file, it's going to look like you were doing that stuff because with your user ID. All right. After you log in, you type in your ID and password, obviously hit the login button, you will come into what you see here is what we call the LendingQB homepage. Now this homepage my homepage is obviously going to look different from yours because everything within LendingQB is determined by access levels. All right, depending on your access levels will allow you to see certain things and access certain things right now. Right now I'm logged in as an administrator, so I have full access to every single screen and every single option. Yourself as a processor, you probably will not have as many options on the left-hand menu side, and certain loan pipeline views tabs that you see here, you probably won't have access to. But all in all, it should look pretty much the same. Okay. Now, before you do anything else, I do recommend downloading an additional 3 programs onto your system within LendingQB, and this will just make your life a little bit easier. I mean, it takes only about 5–10 minutes to download these programs and get it up and running. And it saves a couple clicks here and there within the system. If you don't download them, by all means, you can still use the system just the way it is, but just with these additional programs, it just makes life just a little bit easier. So it's really up to you if you want to or not. Okay. First thing you do is come down here to your left-hand menu side, come down to your download link, and you're going to want to download. The system's running really slow today. You want to download 3 additional programs. Those 3 programs are Browser XT. This will allow you to import, export Fannie Mae, Calyx files in and out of the system. You also want to download ePrint. ePrint will allow you to print certain documents out directly from LendingQB. You might have some custom documents that your doc vendor doesn't print out that you might want to print out directly from LendingQB. So you might want to download the ePrinter so you can print directly out of LendingQB. Now, without it, you still can print. It's just that you would have to download that document, save it as a PDF onto your desktop, reopen that PDF, and then hit the print button. But with the ePrinter or the ePrint downloaded into the system or download on your computer, you could just go to pretty much the file print within the web browser to print that document directly out from LendingQB. All right. And last but not least, you might want to download the vPrinter. The vPrinter is attached to your eDoc system. Your eDoc system is your electronic storage cabinet, pretty much filing all your documents that you come in from a loan file. All right. We're not going to go too much into the eDoc system today because that is a training in itself. I'll touch on it slightly because it does really impact your role. But just know that the vPrinter is attached to the eDoc system. Pretty much it allows for a drag and drop, just kind of like your Windows desktop, where you drag a file and drop it into a folder, and that'll allow you to upload documents into the eDocs for you that way. Okay? All right, so going back to the home page, on the left-hand side, you just have some menu items that you'll be able to do certain things with, probably like create loans, find loans, stuff like that, some general settings, and your profile settings. In the center, you'll have your different pipeline views. I'm not sure how your admin team wants you to be set up, but we can handle multiple pipeline views for the users, all right? And on the right side, you'll have your quick search function. The quick search works in conjunction with the find loan and also the advanced search. The only difference is in the quick search, you can enter in the search criteria right over here. Let's just say you're looking up by last name and you didn't know the full last name. You can just type in the first couple letters followed by the asterisk, and it'll do a search of that prefix for you. The results show up in the next screen. On the bottom, all the loans that fit that search criteria. Now, I talked about the find loan and advanced search earlier, and I showed you real briefly. But pretty much if you click on the advanced search or the find loan button, it will take you to this screen right here, just there won't be any results. You'll just have to enter your search criteria up here, and it'll show your results back down here. On the left side here, if you do an actual enter in the full information, it'll do a search of those individual loans. Anything searched in the center with these search criteria in the middle, or on the right-hand side here, we'll do a batch of loans. For example, this will do a batch of loans. It'll search for all the loans that are assigned to a specific loan officer. Or you might be able to want to look for a bunch of loans assigned to a certain branch, loan status, etc., etc. Okay? To get back to your main pipeline view, all you have to do is click the pipeline button up here, and we'll take you back to your home page. Your pipeline views. We understand that different roles might want different pipeline views. All right, so you can change that pipeline view. You can change the existing one that's showing, or you can add an additional pipeline view just by clicking the plus button to add another tab. Or if you want to just change the existing one that you're looking at, just click on the change button here. Both of them will bring up this search box. Well, not really search box, this list of different pipeline views that you actually have access to. Give it a second to run. Here you go. And this is all the other pipeline views that you have access to. Pretty much a pipeline view is a custom report that your administration team sets up. It's just, for the pipeline view, it's just pulling from that report the reporting fields that your management team has set up. So it'll show up on your pipeline. All right. So if there's a specific pipeline view that you want, meaning that there's a specific reporting fields that you want on that report, I suggest before trying to, or you probably don't have access to create them, but before asking your management to create that pipeline view for you, search through all the ones that you have access to, all the different reports that they've created. Maybe you'll find one of those reports that suits your needs, that has the reporting fields that you want. Okay. If it doesn't, tell your management team, and they can actually build it for you, and they can build that pipeline view for you. Okay. And once they built it, name it for you. All you have to do is search for this list for that one they created for you, and just hit the choose button, and it will update your view. Obviously, this one doesn't have anything, so yeah, but it'll switch it out for you. Okay. One thing to note about the pipeline views is they're automatically defaulted to only allow to show you your loans that you're assigned to. All right. So if you want to see all the loans you have access to, maybe because for the day you're covering someone else's desk, you need to look at their files in their pipeline. You want to make sure to change the visibility to show all loans you have access to. But just note that by default, when you first log in the system and when you actually open up to look for another pipeline or add another pipeline view, it's going to default to only show the loans that you're assigned to. Let's change it back to the simple pipeline view. Within each pipeline view, you have all your different reporting categories. If you click on our category heading, it will do it'll reorder the list by ascending or descending order. All right, so that's another way to search for files. All right, so how a file gets to you, it's kind of a multiple-step process depending on how it's done. I don't know how you guys are assigned files. Are you guys assigned files, or do you guys just pick it up from a queue? Do you know?
We're assigned files.
Okay. So to access a file, all you have to do is click on the loan number and click on the edit button, and it'll open up in a new view, and it will actually open up, and this is how you access the file. How a file gets to you, well, actually, before we get to that, I'll just go over some basics of just the navigation of the page. On the right side, you have your menu items, different folders to access different things, just like your home page. Turning an access level will determine which folders you have access to. Once again, as an admin, I'll have access to all folders. As a processor, you probably won't have access to any of these folders past underwriting. Underwriting, quality control, funding, shipping, financing, you probably won't have access to. Okay? Up top, we have your at a glance. This is just pretty much an at a glance at the loan file. It just gives you basic information, who the loan officer is, your loan number, your status of it, lock status, your ratios, your LTVs, your rate, loan type, and loan amount. And this will be on top of every single page within the loan file. And this will update accordingly as you update information on the loan file. Okay. For the left-hand folders, right? First time you enter in the system for the very first time, all the folders that you actually have access to will actually open up like this. I know the first time learning how to use the system, seeing all these folders open up is quite intimidating, kind of quite confusing. So my recommendation is come in here, close out all the folders as such, hit the Save Menu Layout. It'll save this menu layout. So every time when you go into a new loan file, all the folders will be closed out. Once you're more well-versed in the system, you know exactly which folders you want opened. Reopen those folders, and then save the menu layout. That way, whenever you go into a new loan file, only those select folders will be opened up for you. Okay. Typically, you'll start out on this page, the loan application folder on this loan info page. And normally, when you guys open as a processor, open the loan file, this is the page that you should default to. Okay. Within the system, right, you have white text boxes. White text boxes are exactly that, text boxes for you to manually type in information. We have drop-down menus, a drop-down list where you can pick and select from the drop-down list. All right. We also have grayed out fields. Grayed out fields are grayed out for a reason. It's because the system's doing calculation, as you can see here. Right now, let's just delete this out. This gray field is actually doing an auto calculation, or it's pulling numbers from a different part of the loan file. So it's just copying that information, placing it there because it's good information. So just note that you do have those fields, the gray fields. Typically, next to every gray field, you do have a lockbox. A lockbox is not what you really think. It's not really locking the box, but it's locking the system out. Think about it that way. It's locking the system out from doing its auto calculation. Okay. So if the system's doing an auto calculation or auto pull from another field, if you click on the lockbox, it'll turn that gray box into a white box so that you can override the system and manually type in what you need to type. My recommendation right now is try not to use the lockboxes. There are certain instances, they are far and few between, but there are some instances you would use the lockboxes. Reason why I say not to use them is because you want consistency within the file. If an auditor comes in, starts QAing the file, they're going to see that, hey, how come this field here is calculating this, but we show something else with our calculations, or somewhere in the otherwhere in the loan file, it's showing another number. Why is there two different? So for the sake of consistency, if you need to make a correction on one of these grayed out boxes, try to go to the source and make the correction there, rather than using the lockbox and just override it. Because if you override it and make that change, it will not update the fields that it corresponds to. All right. Blue hyperlinks will just jump you to different parts of the loan file. So for example, we're on this loan info page. If I click on the monthly income link here, it'll skip me directly to the monthly income page right down here. This brings me up to a good point here. The system is a real-time system, so that's why it's asking to prompt me to save. Anytime you make any updates on the page and you transition to the next page, the system will prompt you to make the change, to save the changes. So it's up to you how you want to do that. You could be lazy like me, wait until you've updated everything on the page, wait till you transition, let the system auto prompt you. Or if you're more diligent, as you update information on a loan page, you can just come up here and hit the save button and it'll save. So if you're constantly saving, if you've entered that last information, you've saved it, once you transition to the next page, it won't prompt you to save. So we clicked on that blue hyperlink, and like you see here, it jumps me directly to the monthly income page. So it just jumps to a different page within the loan file. The loan file or the system works just like a web browser. So in those chances that you're working on one page and you need to go back to the prior page and you don't remember that prior page you were on, simply click the back button and it'll take you back to that previous page that you were on. All right. So going back to how files get to you, right? You said it's assigned to you. So how it's assigned to you, typically it'd be your loan officer, I'm assuming, would come over here, come over to the loan processor's internal assignment here, and assign it to you just by clicking on the assign button, finding your name on the list. At the same time, clicking on this button here, copying the user to the official contact list. And I'll go into that in just a bit, why you should want to do that. By clicking on this official contact list and clicking on your name, you'll be assigned to the internal assignment, meaning that you're assigned the file, and it'll post you on the official contact list. Now, the official contact list is somewhat important. Since this is an end-to-end system, my recommendation, if you can help out your end users, your underwriters, and your closers and stuff like that, whenever you get the information, contact information, whether it be the title officer, your appraiser, whoever it is, add it to the official contact list. All right. To do that, all you can do is hit add people, enter in that information, or if you actually have it on your Rolodex. Your company has an internal Rolodex that we've uploaded in, and you can search by all different people, and if it's in there, you can add it in. If not, type in the information here and save it to the official contact list. Reason why you want to add your internal contacts, for example, maybe your loan officer, yourself, your processor, your underwriters, to the official contact list, is when you actually generate certain documents within the system. For example, your verification of employment documents, right? Your VOE, VODs, whatever, right? When you generate that document within LendingQB, it'll actually automatically fill out your contact information on that section of that form for you, so you don't have to manually type that in. For your other contacts, like your title officer, your escrow officer, your appraiser, stuff like that, it's just more helpful for your end users, for when they're using the file. That way, you don't have to dig through your eDoc system trying to find who that contact information is. Trying to find who's this person, what's their phone number, email address, or whatever. If it's on this official contact list, you can see directly. Oh, I know my. Let's just say pretend this is this appraiser. I know the appraiser is Johnny Appraiser at Johnny Appraiser's appraisal company. This is his phone number, and if you've already listed an email address, you don't have to actually open up your Outlook to that. I'll just click on the hyperlink, and it will open your email, your Outlook, a new email thing to send out, and you can email directly out right there to the appraiser or whoever contact you need on that official contact list. Oops, my system's going crazy right now. All right, so going back to assign it to you, they will add your name to the official contact list and to the internal assignment. At that point, you should be getting an email saying that, hey, Rose, you are assigned to file XYZ. Now you're ready to work on it. At that point, you can pick it up. It should show up on your pipeline. You should be able to pick it up just by how I showed you, and you'll access the file. Once you access the file, first things first, you probably want to do is come to the general page. Within the status folder, in the general page, you'll want to enter in the date that you actually picked up this file. Right here, enter in the processing date. And hit save. The system will update the file status to a processing status. I don't know if I'll call report. Anyways, okay, so you can fill out the NLS call report. I guess that's one of your workflow rules before you can actually, what do I need to fill in here? No. Do you happen to know offhand, Rose, what the workflow that you need to fill in over here?
Offhand, do I know what?
What do I need to fill in here? What do you guys normally fill in over here on the NLS call?
Okay, let's see. I'm just looking real quick as far as because this is more for our compliance. We don't have, as far as the processing, unless there's some, unless something's not populating correctly, then I'll go in and double check everything to see if it's what the problem is. But
Uh-huh.
again, I normally input it correctly. But again, it's been compliance has dealt with this part of the screen.
Okay. Since I'm not real familiar, just note that there is a workflow rule, obviously, because I can't transition this file. Normally, like I said, once you pick up the file, you'll put it in processing just to notate to everyone that you have picked it up, so that everyone also knows that, hey, I do know that my processor picked it up and they're working on it. Obviously, right now, as you see, as I try to push it into processing, there's an error message that pops up, and that's an error message that's been put in by your admin team saying that something needs to be updated on the MLSL call report. So
Okay.
just note that I set this up real generically, real fast from a pre-old file that we used to have that I use for training, so it might not have all the information that you normally require for your company. All right.
Oh,
So
but you know what, David? I just realized with that populating that message, it's because the disclosures weren't set out yet. And if it's not sent out, you can't move to the next step. Because once we register the file, we have to do the disclosures. And if it's missed, that message will populate and override
okay,
and not let you continue. So that's now I just remembered. Okay.
okay. Do you guys do disclosures, or do you have like a team that does the disclosures for you, or the loan officer does it?
Both. We have
Okay.
both.
Um, so to issue disclosures, it's pretty simple. Do you guys have a seamless integration, or you do manual through your document? Looks like you
We
have a
use
seamless.
yeah. We manually input, but then we also use DocMagic as well.
Okay. When you use DocMagic, do you use it through the generate here, or do you actually go to DocMagic's website?
We use it through LendingQB.
Okay, so to generate your disclosures after the loan is registered, all you have to do is come down here to your services, click on the generate documents, and you're going to probably do the initial disclosures and hit the run audit. The system will do an audit of the loan file. So right now, at this point, you are literally running DocMagic within LendingQB, okay?
Okay.
Give it a second to run. It's just missing those dates. That's weird that this is prepared date. It shouldn't show a prepared date. But anyways, I'm not going to go too much in detail. Red fatals pretty much means that it's a fatal error that you need to correct before you can move forward. Orange warnings are just exactly that. They're warnings. It's up to your expertise and your experience whether or not these are going to be critical issues or not. It's just telling you that these might be issues down the line. If everything's okay, there's no fatals, all you have to do is hit the next button. At that point, you can generate your disclosures. There'll be two pop-up boxes saying that you want to issue them, you want e-disclosures. If you do want e-disclosures, click on that checkbox and then hit the send button, and it will send e-disclosures to the email on file of the borrowers that they have on file. Okay?
Okay.
Once that's cleared, if we actually did it properly, you'll be able to do the processing, enter the processing date. Only difference you'll see is that you'll see that the loan status will change to a processing status. That's pretty much it. I'll have a date here showing that when the process status at this date at a certain time. So right here on the general screen, general page, you'll have just your basic dates of when the file's gone through different statuses. And on the bottom, you'll actually have your document dates of as they come in. These dates, when you ordered it, you can enter in when you ordered it, when they're due to get back, document effective date, and actually when you actually receive the document. So these are just different dates of all the different documents and all the different loan statuses the file goes through. Okay. I know I talked kind of fast. Any questions so far? Have I lost you guys, or pretty much everything makes sense right now?
It's clear.
Okay. So the next thing you might want to look at is the Honda State Call Report. This is where you want to just pretty much enter in just the geocodes. To import the geocodes, all you have to do is click on the import geocodes. The system will automatically check from the government website and pull in the codes. If you have a mismatch, it will actually open up the government website on another web browser. All you have to do is type in the address and do the search, and then you can manually enter in all these codes. All right, so that's pretty much all you have to do on these pages. All right. So once the file comes in, you're probably going to just be verifying mostly stuff, documents, and information that the loan officer inputted in. Like I said, you'll probably start on the loan application, this loan info page. This page just has generic information about the loan. Okay. The subject property detail screen, or subject property description screen. This is actually the subject address. This is where you're going to actually the subject address of the loan. Legal description. This is what you're going to add on the 10. This is what's going to appear on the 1003. While the short legal description, this is actually what appears on the loan docs. Project name, APN. You might not have this up front unless you have title work already or you have the appraisal. If you do, you can enter it in here and here. Also in the appropriate fields. And for the flood zone, if you guys order flood, this information should auto-populate over here from your flood provider. If you have an integration, are you guys integrated with the flood provider with us?
Yes.
Okay, so to order flood, all you have to do is come over here to the services folder and come out to the flood certification. All this information should pre-populate from the loan file, as you see here. Enter in the order type with your login credentials, and then submit the flood order. All right. The system will automatically pull the flood. Once it comes back, it'll automatically update the flood certification data page, save a copy of that flood cert in the eDoc system, and as well as update your subject property description page where it says the flood zone and if it's in the special flood area. Subject property rental. This is actually a very, very unique page. This is only used in 2 circumstances. All your other REOs will actually be handled in your REO page down here. This is only handled, this page is only used for when you have a 2 to 4 unit owner-occupied property, or if you have a non-owner occupied property that you're using the rental income to qualify the loan for. Okay? Only in those 2 unique situations would you actually fill in this page here. Refi and construction loan page, same kind of idea. It's a specialized page specifically for a refi loan or a construction loan. So only if that loan falls within those 2 criteria would you fill out this page. Right now this loan is set up as a purchase, so that's why it's grayed everything out. That way it's intuitive no, so that you won't, it'll just prevent you from entering information by accident, so that's just a protection that we have there. Borrower info, this is pretty much the borrower information page where you're entering just the basic information, borrower or co-borrower. If you had a second 1003 or you need to add a second 1003 or delete a second 1003, you can do so. All you need to do is to add swap co-borrower button. And if you need to add a 1003, all you have to do is to add new borrower. And just like that, by clicking on that, it'll add in a second 1003 application. You can just add in the name, fill in all their information just like you would on a normal 1003. All right, hit save, it'll save that application. To switch between the 2 1003 applications, all you have to do is come up here on this drop-down menu and just highlight the application that you want to go to, and the system will transition between the 2 1003 applications. Now, if you need to delete someone, delete a co-borrower or something like that, you can switch to the primary 1003 application. You can just by clicking the appropriate radio button or clicking on the link to delete the spouse or the co-borrower or the second 1003 application. There is a big warning box that says, are you sure you want to do this? The reason being is because if you hit the delete button, it is a permanent delete. There's no clicking on this back button to bring that application back. If you delete by accident, you're going to have to manually type in all that information again. All right. If credit has already been run, all the aliases will automatically populate over here on the alias section. If you need to delete someone or delete one of the alias, all you do is click on the delete link. If you need to add, you just type in what you need to add and hit the add button. There's no limit to how many you can add. All right. POA, you probably won't know this upfront how the POA vesting will be, but if you do know, maybe the loan officer, we've trained your loan officer pretty much the same way we train you guys. If your loan officer knows up front, or if you find out that there's going to be a POA, you don't notice that it's not filled in here, you might want to type a note over here to instruct your underwriter, just as another notification, because this is an end-to-end system. The system flows all the way from front to end, It's just good to be able to help out your downstream or users, just to know, hey, there'll be POA, just some kind of note to let the underwriter know that, hey, there's going to be a POA on this file, so please condition the file accordingly. All right. So that's something that you might want to do. That's basically it about the borrower information screen. Title and estate, this is where you can actually build in the vesting, how the names will be held on title will be shown right up here. Grayed out for a reason, because they're actually pulling, this field is actually pulling from the borrower information page, all right? So if you were to update it, it would update accordingly to the title and estate page. All right. We do have the lock boxes, but like I said, for the sake of consistency, try not to use it. It's there for you if you want to, but if you were to update it by locking it and updating it, it will not update the borrower information page. So if you know that, since you know that it's coming from the borrower information page and you need to change how vesting will be shown, how the names will be shown on vesting, just go to the borrower information page and update it, just for the sake of consistency. This is how the title will be held. You can update that if needed. Probably not. You might just want to wait until that goes to your doctor and they'll take care of that. Right over here, source of down payment. If this is a purchase like this loan is, you want to enter in how down payment is put in, or the source of the down payment, just through this drop-down list that we have. These are all Fannie Mae categories, so it is a pretty comprehensive list. If you have something that doesn't fit within this list, you can always type it in here on the bottom, or if you have multiple sources of down payment, obviously choose one that from one of the lists here, and any other source of down payment, you can just type it in this checkbox over here. Title-only borrowers, exactly what that's for. Borrowers who are going to be on title but not on loan, you can add their vesting information over here by clicking on this blue hyperlink. Just their contact information, stuff like that. Seller info, this is only for Texas loans, I believe. I haven't really done Texas loans. If you guys don't do Texas loans, then don't worry about it. But for Texas loans, I believe, from what I remember from my training, for Texas loans, you have to actually enter in the seller's vesting from the title report. So that's where you put it in there. Borrower employment. This is where obviously the borrower employment goes in. Just to give you kind of a background of this screen, this is a very typical screen within LendingQB for when there are multiple sets of information that needs to be put in. All right. So up top here, you'll have some basic, the most current employment. Obviously, enter in all the information as needed. If they're self-employed, make sure to click on the self-employed box. In the middle, you'll have a grid of listing all the prior employments. To look at the details of what's in this grid, all you have to do is highlight that grid line that you want to look at, and then come down here on the bottom, and it'll have more detailed information on the bottom down here of that that information from this grid here. All right. You can add more. If, for example, you need to add more employments. All you have to do is click on the Add or Insert button, and it'll add an additional line on the grid. And once you enter in that information and hit Save, it'll add that information to the grid here. Just like your current employment, if it is self-employed, just make sure to click on the self-employed button. And if this is a second job, make sure to click the current employment button. All right. Reason being is because of the date range. They can only handle numeric numbers or numeric digits. If you were to enter in letters, it will not save. So if it is a current employment, just make sure to click on current employment, and it'll update the date range from whatever date they started to the words present. All right. If you need to reorder these lists for whatever reason, right? Maybe you want to put it in a chronological order or alphabetical or whatever, right? You just want to reorder it. Reorder the order that they're in. All you have to do is highlight the one that you want to move around and hit the move up or move down, and it'll reorder it on the list for you. All right. Same thing if you want to delete, you can hit the delete button and delete it out. Once again, you can't hit that back button to bring it back. Delete, it's a permanent delete. To do your VOEs, if you guys do VOEs, there are multiple ways. You can do it through this screen, obviously by clicking on the Edit VOE button. It'll bring you to the VOE screen. If your information's been entered in the official contact list, like I talked about earlier, your contact information will automatically populate over here, so you don't have to type that in. All right. So this will generate the generic VOE form. It's a Fannie Mae form that we generate. All you have to do is put the attention to who. All this information will flow over from the actual borrower employment screen. Your information will flow over here from the official contact list. If you already have your signature on file, your electronic signature on file, you can add it there just by clicking Add My Signature. Enter in your order date, and then all you have to do is print out or preview that VOE form. So let's take a look at it real quickly. I'll hit the print preview, just open it just to look at it. At this point, I'll open up the PDF file of it. Just your generic Fannie Mae form. I'll have the request to that employer, your contact information, your signature with your title. Should show a date. I don't know why it's not showing it. Maybe I didn't click the right part. I didn't add it in there. All right. And then just the generic DOE form that you can send out. You can either print it out, mail it to them, fax it to them, or save it as on your desktop and email it out to them. You can do your basic edits. You can highlight stuff as needed, just to make sure that they fill in the correct information area. All right. Not going to save this. Once you've sent it out, you can put in maybe an expected date, just kind of for a fall update for yourself. If you've already sent it out in the past and you need to resend it, you can put in that. These are just dates for just tracking, when you got it back and stuff like that. Just add them in. So that's how you can order your VOEs. That's one way. So that's for the prior one, prior employment. Obviously, just highlight the employment that you want to look at and hit the edit VOE button again, and it'll bring up that same screen that we looked at just right now earlier with the up here that we clicked on, right, the current employment. So if you're just doing one VOE just for the current employment, that might be easy. If you're doing multiple employments, it might be kind of annoying to have to go to one and do it each at a time, right? So another way to do it is you go to your verification folder and actually go into the VOE page right over here. Just as an FYI, if you guys have trouble finding where a page is that you need to access, you can use the search tool up here. Let's say you're looking for the VOE. All you can do is type in VOE and click on it, and it will take you directly to that VOE page that you see here. All right. So same thing like we did earlier. You can edit it, edit all that information, preview it, and then order it out. Put in your dates. So it's another way of looking at your VOEs. I honestly don't really like using this page. I would rather just go to the employment page and just take care of it all over there instead of jumping around. But your preference, right? Co-bar employment is exactly the same as the employment screen, so I'm not going to go over that. Monthly income, this is where the monthly income is entered in. We have your basic income separated out by different categories. We have the income calculator within each of those categories. So that way you can enter in income by however way the bar tells you. Let's just say they say, I make 50 hours an hour and I work 40 hours a week. The system will automatically calculate that monthly income. All right. Same thing for the co-bar. Once you hit OK, it will move over that calculation onto your monthly income page. Net rent's grayed out for a reason. It's actually auto-calculating that for you guys from the REO page and your liabilities. All right. Other income, if you have any other types of income that you can add in, you can add it in here. Once again, we have a drop-down list of Fannie Mae categories that you can pick from. Indicated bar or co-bar, and what that monthly amount is. If there's more than the 3 defaults, more than 3 of the other income, you can add as many as needed. All right, to add more buttons. Application total, this is the total income for just this application. So if you have multiple applications, this number here, this total up here, will not match the total. Well, it shouldn't match the total down here. They should be different, and I'm assuming in most cases it should be higher. All right, if everyone has a job, these two should be different. All right, just know that this is just for this application, and this total will be for all the applications. Other financing info, this is a page for sub-financing, all right? So if there's a second lien, you'd enter that here, enter in that current balance or the original balance, the rate, and the terms, and the system will automatically calculate what that monthly P&I payment is. If it's an interest-only second lien, also click on the interest-only box, and it'll recalculate for you. If it's a HELOC, typically HELOCs are qualified with a base payment. All you have to do is just enter in the credit line, the current balance, and what that base payment is. All right. Initial financing is a new loan. System automatically checks it off because intuitive note this is a purchase, so any second lien will be a new lien. But if it's refinance, this box will be open and available for you to check off or check or uncheck. Present housing expenses, pretty self-explanatory as what it is. You probably won't be touching that. Just note that this is for the present housing expenses. As you've already probably noticed right now, the loan application folder page, or loan application folder, is pretty much the 1003 broken up into different sections. If you're more comfortable looking at a traditional 1003, we do have an electronic copy of that 1003. It's under the forms, under the 1003, and you can review the whole loan file as a 1003 if you want to. You know, it's just that we've broken it into different sections. So up to you. Back to assets. Assets. This is where the assets are entered in, just like your employment screen. You have that same grid. Enter in the information down here. Any retirement funds are entered up here. If it's a purchase and something's being held, a cash deposit is being held, enter who's holding it over here and the cash amount that's being held up here. Just to help your underwriters out, if you're not sure if that total has actually been cleared, hasn't been cleared the count yet, so that way your underwriters won't be double counting the same amount. If you haven't verified if it's cleared the count yet, I would say don't put that cash amount, that dollar amount here. Just indicate that someone's holding it and just leave this blank and notate it on the conversation log that you haven't verified if the cash deposit has cleared the count yet, but there is a pending cash deposit of X amount of dollars. REO section, this is where you're going to enter in the REO properties, just like you saw on the employment and asset screen, same menu layout. All you have to do is hit the add button, add in the REO property, just enter in the relevant information, property type, status. I believe the occupancy rate is already defaulted and templated by your administration team to be 75%, but you can change that if needed if you know the exact guidelines of the occupancy rate that you guys calculate off of. For the values down here, all you have to enter in is the market value and the gross rent and any non-escrow payments. The mortgage amount and mortgage payment, I'll show you in a second of how it links to the liability screen. All right. For the liability screen, same, just like we saw earlier, the same menu layout. You know, when whoever orders credit, do you guys order credit, or would that be the loan officer?
The loan officer now is starting to order the credit.
Okay, so loan officer will order credit. Information will automatically populate over here on this grid. It'll indicate who it's owned by, bar, co-bar, the debt type, company, the balance, the monthly payments, and whether they're going to be paid off or not. Okay, and if they're using the ratios or not. If you want to take a look at the most current credit report that was pulled, all you have to do is hit the view credit, and it'll bring up the view most current credit report. Any older credit reports will be stored automatically in the eDoc system for you guys. All right. Once again, you got your basic information. If you need to pay off any debts, all you have to do is highlight that debt and click on the will be paid off and hit save, and it will update the grid accordingly to show that it will be paid off and not using the ratios. Now for your mortgage debts, I know when I was a junior underwriter, it was kind of confusing looking at multiple REO properties with multiple mortgages on the credit report. Trying to figure out which one goes to which was kind of a headache. What's great now is that we can link them together. That way, as a front-end user, like yourself, you can kind of link that up so the underwriter, make life easier for the underwriter. So you know that this is the mortgage debt you have here. Also, you can tell because it's a mortgage debt, saying it's a mortgage debt. Come down here to the property address and click on all the, it'll have a list of all the REO properties that you entered prior in the REO screen. All right. So you click on it, hit the add balance payment info button, and just like that, you've linked them together. If you go back to the REO screen, it will show that they're linked. Just like that, you'll show that, all right, it's linked that B of A debt that we show on the credit report, it's linked to this REO property, it's filled in the mortgage amount from the credit report and that monthly payment amount from the credit report, and based off of payments, rent, and occupancy rate, the system's calculated monthly cash flow. Now this is one of the rare times you would actually use a lockbox. For example, maybe the system calculates this as what the cash flow is, you know, and these numbers are what they are, you know, they are verified. Also, they're pulling from the credit report, and these are verified numbers. But the bar has tax returns showing that, you know what, I'm actually making $750 a month on my cash flow on this rental property. So this is one of the rare times that you would use the lockbox, override it, and notate it on your conversation log in the task list that you did use the just so the underwriter know that why are you using this lockbox. Now they can see the reasoning in the task list on the conversation log. You notated that you are using the tax returns prove that they do have that 750 cash flow. This cash flow here will automatically flow back over to your monthly income screen to the net rent. All right. Declarations, government monitoring, licensing, continuation of data. Probably you really won't be using. I'd say just check out the continuation of data. Like I said, I haven't really done this a long time as other people have, but in my time, I've never really seen anyone use this page, the continuation data. But just to be safe, I would say check out this page. Maybe your loan officers put some notes there or something like that. Maybe someone's put some kind of notes there. So just double check it to be safe. Run my price, my loan engine. This is something you probably won't touch as a processor. This is mainly for the loan officer to run pricing. The price my loan engine is actually more than a pricing engine. It's an AUS engine. So it not only looks at your government overlays, but also your investor guidelines, your company guidelines, and the credit report. Based on all that stuff and all the information you've entered in the loan application folder, it will determine eligibility and pricing for a loan for you. So if everything is entered in correctly and accurately, you can be pretty confident that if it says it's a qualified loan, it's going to be a fundable loan. Okay. Upfront MIP, this is pretty much for your mortgage insurance. All right. If the system detects that mortgage insurance is needed, once your loan officer has run the Price My Loan engine and registered the loan, as you know, it'll update the GFE and stuff like that for you guys when they register the loan. But also, if it detects that mortgage insurance is needed, I know for FHA loans it's called something else. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's all entered on the same screen here. Like I said, once it's registered and it detects that it is needed, it will automatically pull a quote from your MI company. I don't know which one that is or how your administration team has ranked them, but based on the rankings, how they ranked it, the system will pull the quote from that selected company and update this page for you. So there's nothing for you to really touch on this page. It'll all be automatically filled in for you. Once again, right now it's only a quote. I know we're working on to finalize those numbers to make it final numbers. So right now it's only a quote, and your underwriters are instructed and have been trained that they know that this is only a quote when it fills in. They still need to go to the MI provider's webpage to get the final numbers and update it accordingly. Details of transaction, and all this stuff will actually just flow over from a loan file, so you just have to verify this information. Only thing you might want to do is just uncheck the lock boxes here on the estimated prepaid items and closing costs, just so the system calculates correctly. The GFE, as you guys might know, the GFE and the till pages are actually going to be disappearing in about 4 months. They'll actually make all the loan estimate and the closing cost page or something like that, I believe, right? But for now, you guys are still using the GFE and the till. There really shouldn't be much for you to fill in there. Everything should auto-populated and been updated by the loan officer. Only thing is you might want to go over there just to check to make sure everything has been filled out correctly. So make sure that their contact information is over there, it's been filled in correctly. And my system is completely froze now. Close out this loan, go back into it. Any questions so far? I know we're running up on our time. I'll try to not wrap it up, but there's still a couple things to go over. But do you guys have any questions or concerns so far? You guys have been pretty quiet, so.
The conversation log is in the general. Is that the only one that you have?
It should be in the task list right here.
Okay.
Conversation log. Go to the task list. Find the conversation log. Click on it. Running slow. Hit the edit and just type in the comment section, whatever comment you have, right?
Okay.
Okay. And we'll save it to the audit section right here. That way, other people, when they go into the file, they'll be able to see, oh, Pat came in here and made a note of check on something, right? And that's all. That's how you use the conversation log. So let's Go back to the GSE. All you have to do is just check on the basic information, make sure everything's populated correctly. Same thing with the till. You're just making sure everything should be pre-populated upon registration. You're just verifying that information is correct. All right. So as a processor, you're probably going to working off the loan application folder and also off the task list. The task list will have specific tasks assigned to you. All you have to do is come over to the task list, look at all the tasks, and go to the one that's assigned to you, processor. And it'll update and just show all the conditions and tasks that are assigned to you. Now note that in the system, it's kind of confusing, all right? Task in our system is supposed to be something that's for you to do, like go do this, go do that. While a condition is more of something of is more of a document type, right? You need a specific document, so that's why it's a condition. So not to confuse you anymore that you already are, all right? Every condition is considered a task because obviously someone needs to go get that document, but not all tasks are conditions. The tasks are something for you to do. Conditions are the actual conditions that your underwriters put in the file for you to get from certain documents, all right? So the best way to tell the difference from what is actual a task and what's a condition is you can actually look at it. If there is a category, right, that is condition. If it's blank like this, like the compensation log, that's considered a task. But just know that they're kind of interchangeable, but there is a difference between the two. So you can actually create tasks. All you can do is hit add new task, and maybe you want to tell your, probably as a processor, you're going to be in charge of getting a lot of documents, but maybe there's something you want the loan officer to do, you know? You can create that new task. Just hit the add new task, say, hello, get this. Get something, right? You can create that task, assign it to the loan officer by clicking on the change button and assigning it to them. We'll have a list of all the people here, assign to that person, and then hit OK, and it will add that task to your task list. Give it a second. Save. Oh, there it goes. Right there. All right, and it'll show the task in it. As soon as you're done with a task, depending on the permission level designated on the task or the condition, let's say, for example, you already got this thing, whatever this task is, you've completed it. All you have to do is come up here and hit the resolve. And hit the resolve button. If you have the ability to close it out, you can close it out. All right, but depending on what that task is and that permission level set on it, will determine whether you can resolve, and close. Resolve just means that it's been done. You just don't have, kind of like a condition, you don't have sign-off authority on it, right? So it's just indicating to the user, the end user, that, hey, you've already completed this, but you don't have authority to actually close it out. So those with the authority to close out will actually have that resolve and close button. If you don't, you'll only have that resolve button. If you resolve it, it will send out a notification, or actually it will not send out a notification, but it'll update the task or the condition to note that it's been resolved. If you do a resolve and close, it'll actually gray out and take it off your open task list and drop it down here to your closed task list. It's not updating right now.
So David.
Yeah.
David, so this is more for like the processor to keep up with her conditions, correct?
Correct.
Or is it more to inform the underwriter of her actually bringing in or completing a condition?
Kind of both. It's for, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's for the process to keep track of what they need to do, close off what they do. But at the same time, it is for the underwriter to also look at what's been done and what they need to look at too. For the underwriters, it probably won't work off the task list because, I mean, they should still look at the task list because there might be tasks that the processor, the LO, might have asked the underwriter to do something, you know?
Right.
I can't give anything off the top of my head, but they might have, you know? They might say, underwriter, update a certain field that I don't have access to or something, you know? So there might be stuff like that. For the actual conditions, the underwriters will actually be working off their condition sign-off for the conditions page. Because, like I said,
Okay.
all tasks are condition, or all conditions are task due, but we don't want to give the we typically don't like to give processors access to conditions. We want them to work off their tasks.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so tasks. They're assigned to you. They have due dates. If they go past the due date, they'll turn red. Nothing really major will happen if a task. It's just a visual notification to show you that, hey, you said you're going to be finished by this time, so maybe it's more of a follow-up thing, just so you have a notification for yourself that, hey, I should be getting this thing, or I should complete this by this time. It's passed, so maybe I should get on it right away. But honestly, if it passes, it's not going to stop the file or anything like that, unless your management team has put something in to stop it. But I've rarely seen that. Okay. You can reassign the task if needed. If you have access to that, you can reassign it to someone else. Maybe that you're the processor. Oh, I don't need to get this. I'm going to reassign it to the loan officer. So you can reassign it just by clicking on the assignment. You can also email it out. Maybe you need to send this to the borrower, or someone else, they keep forgetting or something like that, that this specific document you need or this task you need them to do. So you can just email it out there, also enter your email address, and then hit the send and save, and it will send it out to that person as an email. The subject line would be the actual task itself. You can add in a custom message if needed. Anything you do with a task, as you can see, we'll keep an audit log of exactly what's going on who's done what. So you can always refer back to who's done what and what. All right. For a closed out task.
Will it come back red? Like if you want to put an update, like a rate is expiring, it'll notify you the date of, or as long as you put a task date in that? Is that how that works?
If you put a due date in, it will. Technically, yes, it will notify you, not through email or anything like that, but actually on your task list here.
So I'd have to go there. It wouldn't come to my email.
It will not. So we'll go to your task list, and I'll show you just as it updates. It'll have it's kind of clunky to look at. It'll have all your tasks, every single task, and it'll group them together by your borrower, your loan number, but it'll have all your tasks and the due date and all the ones that are overdue, It'll have all the ones that are overdue and all the ones that are not expired, but all the overdue ones will be obviously placed up top, shown in red. So that's the only real way to notice, for you to really quickly look at on a day-to-day basis, or actually not even day-to-day, like on a minute-to-minute basis, because this is real time, So every time you refresh the screen, it will refresh this list for you. So on a minute-to-minute basis, you can come to this task to see, oh, I have all these tasks that are overdue, So that's the only way you can really look at. Okay?
David, but this task is it's an individual task for each person, correct? They should only be able to see their own loans, not everybody's tasks, correct?
They can see all the tasks to anyone on the assigned loan that they're assigned to. So if you want to see only yours, make sure to update the list to show only you, right? To me.
Okay.
It'll show your tasks. But it'll actually, technically, if you put it on all, it'll show everyone's tasks on the loan files that you're assigned to.
That you're assigned to, as a processor per se?
So yeah, every loan that the processor is assigned to. So every loan, it'll show all the tasks to anyone on those loans if you have it to all. But if you have it on me, it'll only yours.
Got it.
Okay. So you can add tasks. We've shown how you email it out. You can do notifications, resolve and close, your due dates. Yeah, just like that. The last but not least is pretty much the eDoc system. Like I said, I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but just note that in the eDoc system, when docs come in, all you have to do is come to your document list here. And I'll open another window. To access the documents that come in, all you have to do is hit the action button and open the editor. And this will also be gone over in your eDocs training if you guys do eDocs training. So I'm not going to go too much. The only thing I want to notate here is that when you're looking at this document, only thing I really want to go over is the condition association. So if you notice a document that's come in and it fits the criteria that we're looking at, everything's great with it, you'll want to say that you've screened it just to notate everyone that you've looked at it. This should be okay. And then just to help your underwriters out, you'll want to edit the condition association. So you can actually associate this document to multiple conditions. That way you're helping your underwriter. So this is the list of all the conditions on the file. If this document is related to multiple conditions, click on all the ones that it can be used for to satisfy those conditions. All right. And the reason why I'm asking you guys to do this is to help your underwriters, because your underwriters have multiple more screens that you as a processor will not be looking at, so they'll have multiple more screens open up on their browser than you would. All right. So by associating it, we have a specialized screen just for underwriters that will show the condition and also the document that's associated with that condition. So they have an all-inclusive screen. Because if you don't associate it, they have to open up their eDoc screen, their condition screen, while also having their LendingQB file screen open, the LendingQB homepage screen open, and including any other web browser pages that they have open or any program they have, Outlook and all that stuff. So we've combined the condition screen and the eDoc screen together for specifically just the underwriter role. So if you link it up, you're just helping them downstream. You're just making life easier for your underwriters. Obviously you want that. Make life easier for everyone else. Make your life easier, right? So that's all I really have about eDocs, about going into too much detail about it. Do you guys run DO as processors, or is that only loan officers and underwriters?
We do run DO.
Okay, to run DO, very, very simple. Simply go over here to your underwriting, or sorry, you don't have the underwriting screen. You would go to your services folder and hit submit to DO, or if you guys run LP, submit to LP. All this information should pre-populate from the loan file if everything's filled out correctly. At that point, all you have to do is hit the submit to DO button. I don't know if your team's set up this way, but if it is, we can actually associate your DO credentials to your LendingQB ID so that normally the screen will not pop up. If it's done that way, all you have to do is submit the DO button, and it'll actually open up a new web browser with the Fannie Mae website, so you can do all that stuff on the Fannie Mae website for the DO stuff. Once you're done with that stuff on that website, close it out, and the system will automatically import over the findings into LendingQB. To view those findings, all you have to do is hit the View Findings, and it'll show you a list of those. This will be the most recent DO running, all right? If you run it multiple times, any prior DO runnings will be saved in your eDoc system. LP, same thing. Only difference is LP, you actually do have to enter in your credentials. LP has a two-step verification process. LendingQB can only accommodate a one-step verification process. So with the LP, you would stop them manually, just like what you saw on DO when you saw it pop up. It's just that you have to type all that stuff in manually. Once you are done with the file, all you have to do is come up here to the agent. I'm assuming since it's assigned to you, you would assign it to an underwriter, correct?
Correct.
All right. So just like how it was assigned to you, you would assign it to an underwriter, obviously making sure that checkbox, the official contact list, is checked off. And at the same time, you'll go over to the general screen and put it into a submitted status. That way, it'll notate to everyone that you've submitted it to underwriting. Underwriter team, your underwriter will actually get an email notification saying that the loan has transitioned from status A to status B. Also getting a second email notification saying that you have been assigned to file XYZ. At that point, your hands are pretty much done until the file comes back from underwriting, and then at that point, you're just gathering documents, satisfying the task stuff and conditions that might be coming in. If you need help, there are multiple resources. Obviously, your first line of defense is your colleagues, your more experienced colleagues. Also, your admin team. They should be somewhat experts, in-house resident experts of the LendingQB system. If not, we have instant support available Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It is an IM chat to our support team, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you have. Feedback and questions. This is where you can send an email. Instant support is instant response back. Instant as in they'll probably get back to you within like 2-3 minutes and start talking to you. Feedback questions is for non-urgent or critical or after-hours questions. You can type in what the subject heading is, or you can just use one of the drop downs, type your question in, and it'll go to the support team. They'll respond back within 24 to 48 hours usually. Help link, we have frequently asked questions, we have training videos, 3 to 5 minute YouTube videos. It's going to cause them to log in. But we do have 3 to 5 training videos, very, very generic. I know that every client kind of customizes systems to exactly what they want and how it's going to look. Not really look, but how things work or flow. But these videos are generic enough so that you can actually go in there and watch them and get a pretty good idea of what to do on how to do some things. All right, and they're separated by different roles. Last but not least, you can always contact us at the training team or team at the training team, but just expect for a slower response. Obviously, our support team is there for a reason to handle this as a frontline. There's a frontline people that won't be answering this stuff, but if you want to, you can definitely contact me or Tina through the training email address. Just note that we will take a little bit longer because that's not our first line of duty to actually be looking at that stuff at a constant basis. But yeah, we'll respond back. Normally it's going to be a little bit longer, probably about a week's time. I know Tina, she is literally in her 8-hour day here. She's training 6 hours out of her 8-hour day with different clients on different things, right? For myself, I maybe do about 2 or 3 trainings a week, but my majority of the time, like I said, I'm a deployment consultant here. So I'm working with existing clients or new clients setting up their systems. So most of my time on my 8-hour day, probably about 5 to 6 hours of my day is in meetings with clients, helping them set up their system. You're just setting up their system. So
David, on that note, do you guys do trainings like if I ask you to customize a certain training per se on a loan officer? Because on the loan officer, we would just have them get training on certain things because of our workflow. Would that be a possibility to do?
It is. Just let us know exactly what you want trained on.
Okay.
I think Tina has a video guide for you guys. I'm not pretty sure. I know she records all her trainings with every client, so I could send you that to that, and then maybe you guys can take a look at that. And then in the future, for all your trainings, right, watch the videos that we've made.
Right.
And then instead of having a full-blown on training, we can just do like a 15 or half hour like Q&A session. So it's more focused on what you guys want.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know you were working on sending the videos. So yeah, once I receive it and I review it, because I don't think we have it handy, I'll go ahead and do that. But yeah, I think a Q&A would be good, just because we're bringing on board a lot of loan officers, and again, we changed our workflow to where we just minimized their actual duty in LQB so that the processor could just run with the file. So it has to be customized. We don't need you to go like